Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bent with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal, some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
We have Olivia Evans with us today. She was born into country music royalty, daughter of platinum selling singer Sara Evans, but learned how to sing mimicking Beyonce. Olivia's debut single, Of Course I Do, was fueled by her first devastating heartbreak. It is the first song from her forthcoming pop EP on which she co-wrote every track about the demise of that same relationship. With the release, Olivia marries her musical pedigree with infectious pop melodies and the universal anguish of a broken teenage heart.
And we're excited to have her here. We're going to talk about all that and more. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I always like to start the show out the same way. As you know, this past 18, 20 months have been rough for a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
So I like to talk about that a little bit. How has COVID affected you and what have you done to maneuver through this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of all, one of the hardest parts about it is kind of like watching the music industry like come to a complete stop, obviously, with, not being able to be in crowds and all of that stuff.
Right.
So it was kind of frustrating at times because I would watch, all of my mom's shows get canceled and I sing backup for her on tour as well. So I just watched her go through that. And then at the same time, they were still allowing like football games with 15,000 people and all that stuff.
It didn't seem fair.
Exactly. So it was like a frustrating, whole thing. I mean, I know there are a lot, obviously, more serious situations and obviously it's hard for a lot of people. But I think probably for us, that was where it hit personally. And it wasn't just about us. It was more about watching like crew members lose their jobs, all the band members get jobs and everything like that. So I think, financially and just losing your line of business was probably how it affected us the most, as a lot of musicians would probably say.
Yeah, and that's like for us, we launched this show January of 2020, so a couple months before COVID. And I remember our original plan was maybe 100 interviews our first year. We thought if we could do that, great foundation. And then COVID happens.
Yeah.
And I'm watching things get shut down. And I told Sandy, I was like, this might be our time to shine. Because everybody's going to need a place to talk and we're going to give it to them. And because of that, we did over 300 interviews in 2020 and we're over 500 now. And one of those was your mom, Sara.
Yes. No, I bet. That's so awesome.
So, a lot of people would ask, when did you know you wanted to do music? Now, you being a musical family, this answer might be different than a lot of people in music. But when did it click that this could actually be a career?
Well, yeah, so it's very different growing up like on tour and with a famous country music singer for a mom. And also like my whole family, like her brother plays bass for her. So everyone in my family's musical, everyone does something in the music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so yeah, it was definitely a different upbringing because I learned to like walk and talk and do everything on a tour bus. And so I was just constantly surrounded by that lifestyle forever. I mean, like band members would take turns like watching us and stuff. And so it was just always like kind of this crazy lifestyle. But I think when it really clicked that I wanted to do it was when I actually realized that I had something to write about. Because at first it was more of just like, this is what I do. Like, this is the only thing I'm actually like meant to do because it's kind of set up for me to like walk into that. But I mean, still with a lot of hard work, but as far as like having the inspiration and like just watching my mom do it my entire life, looked pretty easy to me, like not easy, but it looked like, I have the best teacher in the world. So it's like, I shouldn't be able to do it. But no, definitely when I figured out that I had something to write about and also like you mentioned at the beginning, discovering Beyonce was definitely a big part of that because she kind of fueled that like inspiration of like, oh my God, I can do all this stuff, vocally and learn all these things. So that was
now, how was that again, people probably expected you to go country.
Definitely.
How was that when you first come out that, you know what, I love country, but this is me?
Well, so I grew up watching the bro country movement happen and the term of the whole they don't play women on radio, and so I watched that whole thing unfold. Having my mom be a country artist, it was like devastating in a lot of ways watching that, because it was like, no matter what she did, it was like they wouldn't play her and they wouldn't play any other women, and the whole, tomato in the salad movie. I don't know if you remember that. There was just a bunch of stuff that happened. So I wasn't ever planning on it, and my mom would not have advised me to. She actually would have advised me against it, definitely, because there was no way that, still it's really hard for a female to get played on country radio. So
but it does seem to be changing a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that the more people that talk about it and make it a big deal, the better it's going to get. So that was definitely a big factor in why I didn't go.
Now, I forgot to ask you before the show started, and I hate to put people on the spot, but I didn't know, but are you performing any today?
Am I performing what now?
A song today.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I hate to ask in the middle of a show because I'm like, because again, sometimes people say, no, I can't.
Someone's not prepared.
No, I got it. My friend guitar players here to play with me.
So. Awesome.
Just wanted to make sure, but so that when we get to that point, we can talk about that. So tell us, a lot of people, they see the glory in your mom and all the big country artists and the big pop artists and all that. They don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes to get there, whether at their level or even a career level within music. And I always want to talk about that. And you've got kind of behind the scenes, so you see the sacrifice and struggles it takes. So even to get to where you are today, tell us a little bit about that side of it.
Well, as far as watching that side of it through my mom, that was more about watching her balance being a regular mom and also being a famous country music star, because she would play 3 shows over the weekend and then take a red eye and be back for school at 8 a.m. on Monday. So it was this whole struggle, and I didn't really see it until I got older, obviously, because she, she's just a mom, so you don't really pay attention to those things. But definitely realizing how hard that must have been, and the work that she put in all those years when we were younger, and also just taking us on the road and all of those things. It's definitely an inspiration, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't do half the stuff that she did. And, I'm complaining about things. And, but as for on my end, I think the hardest part for me is probably growing up in a different age of social media and all that stuff, because that's definitely the hardest part for me to balance. And no matter how good it looks on social media, it's never actually real. And that's fine, but that's just how it has to be, And so it's just kind of learning how to navigate all of that is definitely the most interesting, maybe difficult part for me, but I'm still very blessed to be able to.
We've had a lot of kids from family royalty, basically, and they all say the same thing. So how has it been for you of the comparison to your mom? Because again, people have this expectation of you now because of your mom. How have you handled that?
Well, I think that at first, and my brother would say the same thing, it was more of trying to separate ourselves from our identity so that we could prove ourselves to other people. Yes, we're extremely blessed to have grown up with this, but at the same time, we're very hard workers. We're naturally gifted as well, and we're going to put in the effort just as anyone else is. And we wanted to definitely prove ourselves to other people, and just, not like my mommy's just doing it for me and things like that, stage mom or anything like that. So that's probably the biggest part for having to prove ourselves. But now it's more I'm so lucky, and I'm definitely gonna, show people how grateful I am to have grown up in an industry like that and have the experience.
And I always want to talk about the sacrifice side and the struggle side, because I think that sometimes people, they get, they have this idea, they want to sing, they want to be in entertainment, and they think if you've got the voice, if you got the talent, then that's it. That's all you need. But we both know that it's so much more to even, it's timing. It's so much is involved that if you're not all in, you're probably not going to make it.
Oh, totally. I think it's 90% effort and 10% luck. And also who you move to Nashville to make connections and meet people and other musicians. So it's all about just bridging the gaps between here and where you want to be. So, it's all about putting the work in. And so, yes, you can be extremely gifted and talented, but if you don't have that work ethic, it's not going to get you anywhere.
And I love what you said, where like 10% luck. That's so true, because a lot of people don't want to hear that part of it. But, because, we've had a lot of people from acting and artists on our show, and they all say the same thing. There was always that one or two people that opened that one door. Yeah. But again, if they didn't do the work before that, that door still wouldn't open.
Totally. I completely agree. I always tell people, like, I have a bunch of friends who are like incredibly talented musicians who will, go somewhere for college and whatever and do all this stuff for music. And not that I'm against going to college in any way, but it's more about, like, you just need to make the connections and, go ahead and like skip that time that you're spending, if you're good enough, you can skip that part and just go ahead and jump right into it. And you'll be 5 steps ahead of the people who did go to college. So it's definitely an interesting like path that you have to find for yourself when you want to do music, especially because there are just so many people that are also, reaching for the same thing.
Yeah, because in real estate they always say it's location, location, location. For this, it's network, network, network. Right?
Yeah, that's really all it is. Yeah.
So, we talked a little bit about the sacrifice and the struggle side. Let's flip the script and go the other way. And what are a few wow moments where you can look back on your career so far and you're like, wow, I got to do that?
Some highlights. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I will be honest, like my career is very like not, it's still very new. So it's, I mean, I've had some amazing moments in being able to play my first solo show. Like that was definitely like one of the best times of my life and I did that in July, I think. And it was also the part of it that was like, okay, now I get to like lead a band with my brother and like actually get everyone together. And like, I've watched my mom do this my whole life and now I get to actually do it. And that was probably one of the coolest parts ever, was because I was like, I don't even need to be nervous. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do for this. And because I just have watched it happen. And so that was definitely one of them. I mean, making a music video, that was amazing. And you can find that on my YouTube channel, but that was one of the best times ever because I've never actually done that either. And so I think it's all those first time things that are definitely one of the most like crazy parts of this whole process, and just getting to write and all that stuff.
So tell us about the song you're going to perform, and then the floor is yours.
Please do.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna do my first single, which was "Of Course I Do," which you mentioned earlier, and it's kind of about, when I wrote the whole album, I wanted it to kind of be like a storyline album of like every phase of the relationship, and so when I got through all the like heartbreak songs, we were like, okay, we do need one that's like, I like you and I'm interested and you're like a bad boy and whatever, classic like teenage girl story. So I think that we just came up with the idea of like, everything's not good about you. Like you're obviously bad news, but that's what makes me love you. And I think a lot of girls can relate to that. It's like you want the one guy that you're definitely not supposed to. So I think that was totally the inspiration behind this song. And we just came up with this fun, like little pop, like girly, and I don't want to say girly, but like very fun, young, really, really cool song. And so I've been really happy with how it turned out, obviously. And this acoustic version that we do actually is also on my YouTube channel, but it's really, really great. And I actually kind of like it better than the studio version.
Awesome. We can't wait to hear it.
Great. Okay. Well, this is John, everyone.
Hello.
He plays.
Hi, John.
I'm John.
Hey.
Okay. So this is Of Course I Do. I hope you like it.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Your stupid eyes lock in mine. I'm paralyzed. I should look away, but I would rather do whatever you say do. Bright caution sign. Tell all this time. Love, suicide. The more you say you're bad for me, the more I wanna find out if it's true. Imperfectly so perfect. Call me naive, you're worth it. I know I should do, yeah. Magnetic me, you call to me. Quite possibly, you could be the devil, but you touch me like an angel in the dark. Imperfectly so perfect. Call me naive, I deserve it. I know I shouldn't want you to spend, but you shouldn't have a kiss like that. My mama said you ain't that cute, she don't like you, so of course I do. I never really misbehave, I shouldn't wanna make you stay. All my girls said you're bad news and they don't like you, so of course I do. Of course I do. Yeah, of course I do. Yeah. People wanna give advice, like it'll make me think twice. If it's wrong, if it's right, don't care. I know I shouldn't want you to stand, but you shouldn't have a kiss like that. My mama says you ain't that cute, she don't like you, so of course I do. I never really misbehaved, I shouldn't wanna make you stay. All my girls said you're bad news and they don't like you, so of course I do. Of course I do. Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Josh.
Great song.
Thank you.
And you do got a great pop voice too.
You do. We
Thank you
love
so
it.
much. Thank you. That song is super fun, but I always say it's extremely hard to sing, especially when you're not with a full band. But I like it. I love to sing it, but I always have to focus really hard. It's great though. I love it.
Love that.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see you as the artist, but they don't see the team behind you. And in our opinion, the teams never get the love they deserve.
No,
but on our
they never
show,
do.
they get some love. So
Yes.
take a few moments to tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
Well, first off, I am with the collective artist management, and they're amazing. They help me with every side of my career, the shows and social media and writing, all of those things. So I definitely couldn't do any of this without them, like my manager and all of those people. And also I have the most, I'm not trying to brag, but I have the best band in Nashville of, I mean, I'm any age, but we're all under, I think, like 24, 25. And they're amazing. And John is one of them, but they're amazing. And so when we did that first show, it was kind of crazy for all of us to actually come together and start playing these songs and like see them come to life. And it's weird because you don't normally hear like super produced pop songs with like a full band sound.
Yeah.
So we had to like navigate that and turn them into like some cool rock songs sometimes. And like that song is, you know, acoustically you wouldn't picture it being super pop, but it is. And that was one of the best parts. But yeah, no, my entire team, everyone that's been a part of this, my brother, all those people are amazing. So
I love that.
Very
And
glad.
speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our 9 or 10-year-old now.
Yes,
today.
it happens to be his birthday today.
We always allow him to come on and ask.
hey,
And, we always have him come on and ask a couple questions. So Sandy's going to go get
His
him.
name's Christopher. I'll go get him.
amazing.
And we got an almost 3-year-old that when she gets older, she'll be plugged in the show. And it's funny. I said, you know what? I bet when the day he turns 10, I'm going to still say 9.
Yeah, totally. So he is 10 today.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Double digits. That's amazing.
So being behind the scenes with your mom all these years while we're waiting for him to come in, what's surprised you the most?
Oh, wow. I think as I've gotten older, I've definitely realized, hi, happy birthday.
Thanks.
I think I've definitely like realized how cool she really is.
Oh, wow.
I didn't, but as far as in the industry, like when you're younger, you don't really pay attention to that stuff. Like, you know, like seeing Steven Tyler like run up and high five her and like say hey, and like all of that stuff I wouldn't have even cared about. I didn't care about it when I was younger, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. Like that's really weird. And like I'm a huge Eagles fan, and she did a thing with Joe Walsh one time, and now I'm just like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen, and that's my mom. So definitely that, I think, like realizing all those really
and one day he'll realize that, because again, we interviewed over 500 people, and we bring on a lot of actors and actresses too from the shows that he looks up to. So right now he don't get the privilege he has right here, but we know down the road he's going to look back and say, wow.
Yeah, no, you definitely will. You'll be like, oh my gosh, that was really, really cool.
Hi, Olivia. So what's your favorite food?
My favorite food. Oh my gosh. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I love any sort of Asian food. I love Thai food. I probably eat it way too much. Either that or a cheeseburger. Like I am just like a classic cheeseburger kind of person, I would say.
What's yours?
Mine is pizza.
Oh my gosh, yes. Have you had 5 Points Pizza? Do y'all live in Nashville?
We're out of Savannah, but we're planning on moving to Nashville later this year.
Amazing. Okay, well, when you move here, 5 Points Pizza, I will say, is the best pizza place in all of Nashville, maybe in the world. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, we're coming in for a week in April, so we'll have to try that place.
Please go. It's amazing. You will love it.
Okay, so what's your favorite TV show?
What's my favorite TV show? Oh my gosh. I love TV. I love Downton Abbey. I watched that when I was really young and I loved it. I don't know why, because it seems like a mature show, but I loved it and I still do. I've watched it like 3 times. And Succession. I think that's way too old for you, so don't watch it, but it's really good.
And what's yours?
Mine is SpongeBob.
Oh my gosh. I watched SpongeBob. I still watch SpongeBob. I'm not going to lie. I love it.
And they still have new ones.
I know. They just came out with more, right? That's so
It's crazy. And then, of course, now they got the Patrick show.
I have heard about that. I haven't watched it. I'm a little skeptical. But is it good?
You like it, huh?
Yes, of course.
He likes Patrick.
Okay. Well, obviously, who doesn't love Patrick?
Okay, so what's your favorite movie?
I am kind of a nerd, and I love Lord of the Rings. Have you watched those yet? Those are
He hasn't
No,
yet.
I haven't.
okay. Well, whenever you can, they're probably the best movies ever. I'm not gonna lie, but I love action movies and stuff because I have an older brother who just like made me love that stuff when I was younger. So definitely those.
And what's yours?
Mine is the Minions movie.
Oh my gosh, those are hilarious.
Yeah.
Those are so funny.
And our almost 3-year-old, I mean, they really have built such a strong brand. We could be walking in the mall, and if there's a Minion in the store, we have to go in.
Oh, I know. Seriously, it's amazing. I see adults walking around with Minion shirts on. Like, that is so cool.
Right.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you. Happy birthday.
He loves being. We try, again, when we've launched the show, the goal was to keep our family together. And I was like, you know what? We're going to bring him on. And he's been on almost every episode.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet.
So if you could co-write with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. That is such a difficult question.
And you can even name one of each.
Yeah.
I was about to say, oh my gosh. Maybe. Oh my gosh. See, okay, alive, maybe Keith Urban. I'm obsessed with Keith Urban and I love it. And that's actually like maybe a possibility because he knows my mom. So someday that might happen. But I'm obsessed with him. And dead, I mean, maybe like Aretha Franklin or Michael Jackson or
That would be great.
Those would be.
I mean, who wouldn't, honestly, obviously. I mean, but probably those if I had to just come up with something off the top of my head.
Have you written with your mom?
I mean, not really. Maybe like a little bit, like jokingly, but no, not professionally. Yeah. I'm not opposed to it. I actually don't know how that would go. We
It
work
could go either way. It probably could go really great or really bad.
Exactly. We're best friends, but I mean, I work with her because I sing backup for her on tour. And it's definitely weird working for your parent. It's like she's not my mom when we're on the road. She is just my boss. That's it. And
Right.
Of course, we
Wow.
are together 24/7, and I love her more than anything. But it's more about like, when she steps on stage, it's like if I mess up, I'm done as well. I don't get any free passes or anything like that. So
Right.
So this question probably has 1,000 answers,
Oh,
but
at
just think
least.
of the first thing that comes to mind. What
Okay.
is a song you've heard that you wish you wrote?
I wish I wrote "Style" by Taylor Swift.
Oh, I love that song.
And that's actually my genuine answer. I mean, there are 1,000 songs I wish I would have written, but I think I think that's like top 5 best pop songs like ever written. And that whole album is like one of my favorite albums of all time. So she's an inspiration for sure.
Now, back in 2015, we got to interview Kelsey Ballerini before she was Kelsey.
We did.
And one of the questions I always I asked her was where she wanted to be in 5 years. And I always like to tell this story because the answer she gave us back then is to the T of what she's living now. I mean, she knew where she was going. She almost had it road mapped
planned out.
So knowing that, where do you want to be or plan to be in 5 years?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I always kind of just give the answer of like, I'm open to a bunch of different options. I mean, if I'm just writing at that time, that's totally fine. If I'm touring, if I have like 2 more albums by then or, whatever. I mean, I'm kind of just open to any possibility as long as I think it fuels my creativity and also like fulfills me as well, So, I mean, I'm kind of open, but any of those options.
I said, what are some sources of inspiration for you?
I mean, the obvious one is my mom. And as far as like watching someone do the job that I'm trying to do now. And so I've definitely had the best role model, obviously, in my life. But I think inspiration for writing and what I do, I think like I'm a very personal writer. And that's pretty obvious. I mean, like I do not hide what I'm feeling, and I will call you out in a song, and I will write specifically about you in a song. I'm not afraid to do that. So I definitely think I'm just not, and I don't have any other inspiration except for things that I actually go through. So it's like if you're
like the cheat song, right?
Yep. If you're gonna if you're gonna break my heart, I'm gonna write about it. So just I tell people.
You literally tell people when you date?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to start it off like that. Things headed downward. I'm just like, better watch what you do because I'll write a song about it.
Like Taylor does.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, and it's not even that, when you look at songwriters in general, if you're around them, you're going to end up in their song, whether it's good or bad.
No, it doesn't even have to be a relationship or like romantically. It could be a friendship. It could be like a parent relationship. It could be anything. But it's just, when you're in that position of being like vulnerable and open to people, it's like, if you're in my life, you might be in a song. That's what I'll say.
That's what a songwriter does. They write. Right. They write about life.
Totally.
Yes. And what would you like for your legacy to be as an artist? What would you like to be known and remembered for?
Oh my gosh, that is such a deep question. I think that I most of all would just, and I don't want to sound cheesy or anything, but I want to remain the way that I am now, as far as like, no matter if I take off in a couple months or if I take off in 5 years or never or whatever, it's like, I definitely want people to always say like, okay, well, she didn't change because of this or because of the fame, because of who she knows or things like that. If that were to happen, I would hope that I can, definitely keep who I am deep down at bay. So,
and that was kind of one of my questions too, was, look 15 years down the road and you're a success on a grand scale. What would the person you are today want to remind her, your successful self?
Just to be humble and to know that, like, no matter what I do or the success that I gain, it's not even about me. It's about, being given a gift from God that I'm able to share with other people. So I think that as long as I can, keep reminding myself of that it's not even about me. And it's not about me in the grand scheme of things either. Like life doesn't even matter in comparison to, having eternal life and all that stuff. So as far as that, I think that definitely just keeping my faith in a strong place is probably the most important for me.
Oh, love that. And if you could say anything to your fans and followers, what would you want to tell them?
Just thank you. And I hope that, I never really disappoint them as far as being a person and also an artist. And just, I'm extremely grateful for the people that are already so supportive and have pushed me already in the direction that I'm going. It's amazing. It's a really crazy feeling when you start having people really care about that and pay attention to not just you, but your artistry as well. It's a really amazing feeling.
So what's next for you?
Well, I'm still touring with my mom, and so we just got off a Christmas tour, and I always say the Christmas tour is amazing, but also the hardest thing ever because it's nonstop and still young, and so jumping into a professional tour is still extremely hard. And so I just finished that, but in my personal career, definitely just writing, and I want to get some more shows booked and all of that stuff, and I just want to write about everything that's happening in my life and whatever inspiration I get or relationships I go into, anything like that. I definitely just want to continue being pretty transparent with my fans and the audience. So
love that. So as we come to a close here, let's say you had a friend of yours and you heard him or her sing and they have something special. As Simon Cowell would say, they have that it factor and they feel called to music. What advice would you give that person, that specific person, to kind of help guide them the next couple of years in this crazy entertainment world?
Oh my gosh. Probably just to understand that it's all or nothing. It's not just kind of you put in half the work and then you get half of it back. It's not like that. It's not, you can't have both sides of it. You have one or the other. So I would definitely just tell them to, if they really, really want it, if they really want to go get this thing in the music industry, then they have to really want it because there are 1,000 other people just as good as them who might want it just as bad. So it's all about, making that effort. And like I said, 10% luck. So also just being patient and waiting for the moment to hit because it will if it's meant to happen. That's what I always say.
Yeah, like they say that quote that success is when preparedness and opportunity meet, and I think that's so true. As it's better to be over prepared for when the opportunity comes than to be underprepared and then you lose it.
Totally, and it's all like I said, it's not up to you. It's about whether it's in your timing or it's not about your timing. It's about God's timing and about when that moment is actually going to hit. And so just be patient because. For me, it could be in 10 years, it could be in 6 months. So it's just a matter of waiting and allowing that to kind of unfold while still putting in the effort and the hard work.
And like they say, every overnight success has a 10-year foundation. So
yes,
yeah,
definitely.
So tell everybody how they can find you and any parting words you have.
Well, thank you first off for having me. This has been so fun, and I'm glad we got to play my song and everything. I hope you enjoyed that. And you can find basically all of my information at oliviaevansmusic.com and on my YouTube channel, and follow me on Instagram and all of my social medias. They should all be on the website, and it'll show you where to download the music. And if you want to listen to my album, please do because I love it. I hope you love it just as much as I do. So but thank you again. This has been such a blast.
We enjoyed having you on the show today. We definitely look forward to having you back for updates.
Please do. Yes, anytime. I would love that.
And you're always welcome anytime.
Yes, anytime.
Thank you.
All right, you have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Okay,